There were a lot of random things going on this week. One of them was tackling a little spring project that I created for myself. I wanted to beautify the side of our house because it looked really sad and miserable and overgrown and unmanaged. And I wanted to use as many items that were salvaged from around our property as possible. So I used a bunch of rocks that I found, as well as some bricks that my neighbor was going to throw away. And I used those to line the garden and create a really nice shape. And we also found a ladder that looked like it just had been thrown in the forest. It was covered with leaves and it looked like it hadn't been used in a really long time. Later, our neighbor told us that that used to be the entrance to a path that had since been relocated, so we were okay to take it. And then the wheelbarrow that we found was actually left by the previous owner of this property, and I was really happy about it because it looks really rustic and I thought it would be a nice and beautiful addition to the garden aesthetic that I was going for. It also took me 2 days to till that area and remove all of the flower bulbs that were growing there. From what I was told, those flowers are an invasive species and they kind of grow out of control. And I did want some kind of control over that garden area. So I spent those days pulling out most of the bulbs and just leaving a line of them against the house. So at least there were some there, but the rest of it, I took them all out. I planted, or rather I transplanted a little pine tree to one portion of that area, but I still need to figure out what I'm going to plant in that area because it gets mostly shade, and whatever I plant there has to be deer proof because we have a lot of hungry deer neighbors that like to eat everything in sight. And frankly, I just spent an unspeakable amount of money on cedar lumber for my garden. So I think I'm just gonna go around my property and see if I can transplant any plants to that area. Around the same time, I realized I really had to manage my vegetable seedlings that I'm growing. A lot of the seeds I planted multiple in a single pot, and the seedlings were becoming big and they were competing for resources. So I had to transplant them into their own individual pots. And that was sort of a process that took multiple days because some of the seedlings had to grow a bit bigger and they all have different growing rates and different needs. So I had to obviously adjust for all of those requirements and needs for the plants. And because my outdoor garden is not built yet, I decided to utilize the space in front of our house, the little flower bed that I originally was going to plant flowers in, and instead use it for cold hardy plants. So I had some kale and arugula sprouts that I was going to plant in my outdoor garden, my big one. But like I said, they should have been planted weeks ago, so I decided to just, for this season, use that space for those greens and see how they do. Also, my neighbor wanted to clean up some of the cut trees on his property, and he asked us if we wanted the wood because he heats his house with propane heating. So that was super nice of him. He got to clean up his property, and we got some free firewood to heat our home. So we helped him transport those logs.